In this video, we will talk about correlograms. A correlogram basically is a plot of the autocorrelation for a time series versus the lag at which the autocorrelation was calculated. A correlogram, please note, gives you a very handy visual aid or a visual tool that can help you detect what sort of process or let's say specification your time series is following. Okay, what we have here are three correlograms. Using very simple, very intuitive arguments and rules of thumb, we will try and figure out what sort of process or what sort of specification the time series behind each of these three correlograms might be following. Okay, before we start, let's do this. Let's quickly recap this concept of autocorrelation. Let's say you have a time series denoted by y. Its value at any time t is given by yt. And for this time series, I can define the autocorrelation denoted by rho at any given lag h to be the correlation between yt and its value h periods ago. That means the correlation between yt and yt minus h. Okay, so this is the autocorrelation for a lag h. If I were to assume that these two are just simple random variables, I can use the formula for correlation and very simply work out this autocorrelation to be equal to the covariance between yt and yt minus h divided by the standard deviation of yt and also divided by the standard deviation of yt minus h. Okay, if I were to assume that my time series is covariance stationary, then both of these standard deviations will be equal. Both of them will be the same, and hence the denominator will become the variance of yt. Okay, this is how you would theoretically calculate the autocorrelation for any lag h. Now, practically speaking, we calculate the autocorrelation for any given lag using the sample of observations of our time series. Okay, so if our sample is of size n, then the variance of our estimate of the autocorrelation for a lag h will approximately be equal to 1 over n. And if I were to also make the normal distribution assumption, then a 95% confidence band for my rho h would simply work out to be plus or minus 2 over square root of n. Okay, so if my autocorrelation at any given lag h lies outside this band, I will treat that autocorrelation to be statistically significant. That means statistically different from 0. And if there is an autocorrelation which lies within this band, I'll treat that autocorrelation to be statistically insignificant. Okay, so this is a very rough, a very handy confidence band that can help me detect if any given autocorrelation at any chosen lag is statistically significant or not. Okay, now one more thing which I want you to remember about the autocorrelations for any given time series is that if your time series is covariance stationary, then you will observe this, that as the lag h increases, your autocorrelation eventually becomes statistically insignificant. Okay, it falls down to a 0. Okay, so this was about the background knowledge that we need about autocorrelation as far as this video is concerned. Let's come back to the task at hand, and first and foremost, I want you to observe this, that for each of these three correlograms, the autocorrelation is indeed decaying down to a 0 as the lag h keeps increasing. Okay, so this tells me that the time series behind each of these three correlograms, these three time series, are indeed covariance stationary. Okay, now let's focus on correlogram A. So in this correlogram, would you observe? You observe this, that the autocorrelation for lag 1 is significant, for lag 2 is also significant, but for all lags which are greater than 2, that means 3, 4, 5, 6 and so on, the autocorrelation becomes insignificant. Okay, this drop of my autocorrelation down to a 0 beyond this lag of 2 is rather abrupt. Okay, and this sort of a behavior in which the autocorrelation abruptly decays to a 0 beyond a certain lag is demonstrated by moving average processes, MA processes. Okay, so the rule of thumb is that if you were to observe that your autocorrelation decays down to a 0, abruptly decays down to a 0 beyond a certain lag, then that lag, beyond which this abrupt decay happens, is the order of the MA process behind such a correlogram. Okay, so in this case, the abrupt decay happens beyond this lag of 2, and hence our best guess for the time series specification for this correlogram is that it's a time series which is following the MA2 process, okay, the moving average process of second order. Okay, let me quickly reveal to you the actual specification which I used to generate this correlogram, and it's given here. It was indeed MA2. Okay, so in this specification, YT depends on the lagged values of 2 shocks. Okay, and the maximum lagged value that we go on till is lag 2. So that's the order of this MA process. Okay, so this was simple. Let's now move on to correlogram B. Okay, so in this correlogram, what do you observe? The decay in my autocorrelation is indeed happening as the lag keeps increasing, but this decay down to a 0 is not as abrupt as it happened in this correlogram. Okay, this decay, it's a very geometric decline. Okay, if I were to pick the autocorrelation at any given lag, it seems to be a multiple of the autocorrelation at the previous lag. Of course, this multiple is less than 1. Okay, so this sort of a geometric decline, it usually comes from a time series that follows the AR process, and that too AR process of the first order. Okay, but please note this, that such a correlogram can also come from a time series which follows an AR process of order which is greater than 1. Okay, so this correlogram in itself is not very helpful in terms of determining what is the precise order of the AR process, the autoregressive process behind this correlogram. Okay, for this purpose, we therefore need help from another type of plot, and this is the plot of the partial autocorrelation with respect to lag. Let's very quickly recap this concept of partial autocorrelation. If for lag h, autocorrelation is the correlation between yt and yt minus h, partial autocorrelation is the correlation between yt and yt minus h after accounting for the intervening lags which are sitting in between yt and yt minus h. Okay, so here I am talking about yt minus 1, yt minus 2, yt minus 3, all the way till yt minus h plus 1. Okay, so once I have accounted for all the lags which are sitting in between these two, then the correlation between yt and yt minus h will be called the partial autocorrelation for lag h. Okay, so if I were to plot the partial autocorrelation function for any given lag for correlogram B, this is how it looks like. See, the partial autocorrelation function is significant for lag 1, and then it abruptly decays to a 0 beyond this lag 1. Okay, this is time for a rule of thumb. Please note this, that when you see a partial autocorrelation function plot and you see that this plot abruptly decays down to a 0, it's kind of telling you that this is a plot for an AR process. Okay, it's a plot for an AR process whose order equals the maximum lag for which your autocorrelation, your partial autocorrelation was significant. Okay, so in this case, the maximum lag for which you had a significant partial autocorrelation is lag 1, and hence this plot is telling me that correlogram B is coming from an AR1 process. Okay, so coming back to my correlogram, let me quickly reveal to you the actual specification which I used. It was actually an AR1 process. Okay, YT in this particular time series depends on its own lagged value, and the maximum lag that we include in this specification is lag 1. So it is AR1. Okay. Now let's come to correlogram C. Now in this correlogram, we neither have an abrupt decay to 0 like it was happening here, nor do we have this very nice geometric decline towards 0. Okay, it's a decline towards 0, but it is not abrupt and it's not as nice as this. So this correlogram, first and foremost, is not coming from a pure MA process. Okay, because in that case, it would have abruptly decayed to 0. Also, this correlogram is not coming from AR process with a first order. Okay, this correlogram is either coming from an AR process with an order which is greater than 1, or this correlogram is coming from an AR process which also has some sort of MA component in it. That means an ARMA process. Okay, let's do this. Let's get some information about this particular correlogram by also plotting the partial autocorrelation function. So this is how the partial autocorrelation function for correlogram C looks like. So this partial autocorrelation function, it decays down to a 0 beyond lag 3. Okay, so our rule of thumb when it comes to partial autocorrelation function plots tells me that AR process of order 3 can be a good candidate for correlogram C. Okay, because the decay to 0 happens beyond this lag of 3. Well, it can also be the case that correlogram C comes from a process which has AR1 component sitting in it, and because of AR1, the partial autocorrelation function for lag 1 is significant. Plus, on top of AR1, the process behind correlogram C can also have an MA component in it. Okay, and the MA component is the one which did not make this partial autocorrelation function decay abruptly down to a 0 beyond lag 1. Okay, that's my second potential candidate. My first candidate was AR with order 3. My other potential candidate is ARMA with, let's say, order 1 for AR and order 1 for MA. Okay, so actually, let me reveal to you the actual specification which I used, and it was actually ARMA. Okay, so the YT in this particular case depends on its own lagged value 1 period ago, and also the lagged value of the shock 1 period ago. Okay, so this specification is ARMA 1, 1. Okay, AR1 combined with MA1. Okay. This video was all about looking at the shape of the correlogram, looking at the patterns, the visual information which our correlogram is telling us, and from that visual information, trying to figure out what sort of process, or let's say what sort of specification can be behind any given time series for which that particular correlogram has been plotted. Okay.